Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be teaching you how to crochet in 20 minutes. This video will consist of some basics as well as the actual tutorial and pattern for this little bag I'm showing off. It's all super easy and absolute beginner friendly. Good luck! Part 1. Hooks and tools. I recommend getting all of your hooks either secondhand at a thrift store, cheap on Amazon, or just asking your family members. Starting with smaller hooks, these are used for lower weight yarns, laces, and more detailed pieces, but they're a little difficult. The larger the hook, the chunkier the yarn. These are used for a lot of stuffed animals, and you can use it as a beginner, it'll be fine. Personally though, I recommend sticking to more of the medium-sized hooks. These are used for most common projects, and they are super beginner friendly. The size of your hook will very commonly match up with the size of the yarn itself. When we go over the labels in a bit, I'll go over this more in depth, but for now, your yarn and your hook will look about the same thickness when you hold them next to each other. The chunkier the yarn is, the higher the weight is, and vice versa. Also, for a lower weight yarn like the one in my hand now, we use a smaller hook like the one that I'm holding, which is a 3.5 millimeter. Aside from these hooks, there are plenty of other tools that are used. For example, we have the darning needle. The darning needle is used to sew the same way a normal needle and thread would. The difference is that because the needle is a bit thicker, not only does it fit the yarn, but it also enters in and out of the stitches itself rather than just going through fabric. Another common tool is the stitch marker. I personally don't use these, but I think they're really helpful for beginners. Simply, when you attach it to the yarn, it helps you keep your place. In this example, I'm showing you just how you would attach it straight through the stitch itself, and then you would shut it like a safety pin. There's a few more basic tools, measuring tape, scissors, things like that everyone already has. There's also rings that help hold your yarn. These are not necessary by any means, but they help prevent rashes. The next important step in learning how to crochet is knowing how to read the labels on your yarn. Everything is usually on the label itself. For example, this shows the recommended hook size. Of your earlier projects will be somewhere between 4 and 6 millimeters, so a yarn like this is really easy. Grams and yards show any way to measure by weight or length. The back shows your actual yarn weight or thickness, as well as some actual dimensions for hook sizes or needle sizes, depending on what you're using this for. For today's project, you're going to need one color of weight 4 yarn, and then a small amount of another weight 4, as well as a tiny bit of some chunkier yarn, like a weight 5. So keep some notes. Before we get into the actual project, you should know how to do the basic stitches themselves. First off is the slip knot. You're going to wrap your fingers around the yarn like this, and then pull it straight through. This is used to start a huge amount of projects you'll be doing, so make sure you can do this right. Slip knots are the base for the next stitch, called the chain. This is how you actually make the body of a piece. You simply yarn over, which is where you wrap the yarn around the hook and pull it through the stitch you already have. The more chains you do, the longer your piece will be, or the taller depending on your holding your yarn, but I usually refer to this as the length of the piece. During your practice session like this, make as many as you need until you feel comfortable and until they're all about the same size on the piece itself. Our next stitch is called the single crochet. It's very similar to how you would do a chain, but this time instead of being on its own, it goes inside the project. You're going to insert your hook into one of the chain stitches you just made and pull it through. Rather than pull straight through again, you're going to pull through both loops on the hook. This is usually done for a tighter body stitch, so if you were to do a bunch of single crochets, you'll notice that the piece itself is really thick and not as malleable. It makes a really nice base for bags and hats. And as a small tip, when you get to the end, never forget your last stitch. Make sure that you're counting your stitches as you go so they're even in every row. When you finish a row, you'll either chain 1 or 2 depending on what stitch you're doing in order to make room for when you spin it around and add more stitches. Next up is your half double crochet. Start by yarning over before pushing in and then push your yarn through the stitch. You'll yarn over and pull out to have 3 loops on the hook, which you'll then pull through all 3 at once. This creates a stitch very similar to the single crochet, but it's a little bit thicker and is used in pieces that are a little bit heavier. Just adding that 1 extra loop is enough to make the yarn a lot more heavy duty than what it was in just a single. Make sure you don't skip your last stitch And then at the end of any row, just like before, you'll be chaining. As we move to the double crochet, you'll chain 2 and then flip your work. Yarn over once, and then insert just like you would a half double crochet, but this time instead of pulling through all 3, you'll pull through 2 loops, and then pull through 2 more loops. This is basically a half double crochet, but a little taller. Stitch like this is commonly used in almost every project you'll end up doing, because it covers a little bit more ground a little quicker than anything else. Next up is the triple crochet. You'll yarn over twice before inserting your hook, and the same as the double crochet, you'll be pulling through 2 loops at a time. You'll pull through the first 2, then the second 2, and then finally you'll pull through the third 2. This creates an even taller stitch than a double crochet. A triple stitch is very uncommon in most patterns, but it is good to know just in case they come up randomly. Your last common stitch is the slip stitch. You'll do this the exact same way you do a chain stitch, but rather than using it for length, you'll be using it for more of a hem or to just seal off an end. It's important when doing a slip stitch to make sure that you're not pulling extremely tight or it will end up ruining the length of your project. This is the very basic pattern that you'll be using for today. Everything is abbreviated before the section it goes into, and sometimes I'll write the full words as well. You can screenshot this however you please, so that way you can refer back to the directions without needing to rewind the video. Eventually, you'll be able to understand these very easily. Moving on to part 3, this is your actual first project. I'll be making this bag as a birthday present for a friend of mine, and I'll show you how to make it easily as well. Just like I mentioned earlier, you'll need all that extra yarn as well as the 5mm hook to make this piece, and keep some notes. Your first step will be to make a slip knot the same way I showed you earlier in the video. Wrap it around your fingers like so, and then get ready to pull the yarn through. That's what makes the knot itself. After the knot, you'll be chaining 20, just as it says in the directions. Make sure you loop over and then pull through. Try to make each of the individual stitches in the chain as close in size as possible to one another. That's called keeping your tension the same. And that's just something that you'll get better at the more you crochet. Don't worry about it being perfect for now. You just gotta start somewhere. After you've made a few stitches, I recommend putting a stitch marker into the first one you did, so that way you don't lose your space when you get back to it. Insert the stitch marker the same way I showed you earlier. It's basically a safety pin made of plastic. Find the first stitch at the start of the chain, insert it in, and leave it there until you're ready to turn your work. I think it's worth it to keep notes as you move through this. After you finish your chain 20, I recommend writing down what you're doing. Your next step will be to single crochet once into each of these stitches for 10 rows. Skip the last loop that you did, and then insert into the one I'm showing you. Same way as we did earlier, you will insert your hook into that little loop, then yarn over, and then pull it through. Be doing this stitch 19 times as opposed to the 20 we chained, since you skipped the last stitch to make this work. Again, if they're not perfectly even, it's okay. This is your first time doing it, but try to keep your tension even. Once you're at the end of this row, you'll see where you left the stitch marker. Take it out and just throw it wherever you want it, and then stitch into the very last chain. This will leave you with 19 single crochets, just as I said before. Once you're finished with this, you'll chain 1 and turn your work. You can count to make sure you have all 19 stitches afterwards. Chain the same way you do as you would do it if you were doing a bunch in a row, but this time you're just doing it a single time and spinning it around. I recommend writing a little tally down each time you turn your work and finish a row. When you get to the end of row 2, make sure that you don't forget that last stitch. It looks a little bit different than the first chain one did, but still same thing, don't skip over it and make sure you do it all. Take notes where you need to, but you need 8 more rows of this. Once you have finished all 10 of these rows, you'll have the ability to switch colors if you would like. I'm just noting down as I write the pattern, just as I normally do, and this is where we'll do our color switch. For the color switch, you don't need to chain and you don't need to make a slip knot. You're simply going to take the new color yarn that you would like and line it up next to the project. You'll basically be making a chain with the new color without doing anything fancy. Simply pull it straight through the loop that you already had. This will make the ends look really crisp and like the color switch was super natural. After you finish switching, cut the green yarn, and then you'll be able to tuck in your ends. Some people do this afterwards, but I like to do it during whenever possible. Simply insert like you would normally to do a single crochet, and this time make sure you use your fingers to hold those ends in place. Single crochet like normal and trapping those ends in between the stitches themselves. This will end up hiding them later on. And totally optional, but if you would like to use a stitch marker, do so here so you don't lose your spot. Now when you get to the end of this side, you'll be able to see exactly where you left off, insert your hook, and go about this normally. You will need 5 rows of these white single crochets, and I'll meet you there when we're done. Once you've finished all 5 of those rows, we'll be switching back to the first color to do 13 more rows of single crochet. You'll be doing a color switch the exact same way you did it the first time, and weaving in your ends the same way as well. This is done the exact same way as we did it before, so don't worry about anything changing just because you're switching colors a second time. It will be the same in pretty much every project you do. To reiterate, you'll be doing 13 single crochets of the first color that you started on your project with. This way, we're building up the rest of the body with a cute stripe in the center. After this, congratulations, you have made the first part of your first project. To finish it off, you're simply going to chain 1 and cut your yarn. When you pull through here, it creates a really tight knot so your project won't unravel on itself. You can begin to work on the back panel of the bag. This will be made in the exact same way as the first panel, however, we won't be doing that white stripe in the middle. Once again, you'll be starting with 20 chains and making it 28 rows tall. You're still using single crochets for the height of this bag, you're just not switching colors at any point during the middle parts. It should look exactly the same as the first panel when they're done. Now that your panels are done, when you line them up together, you should be able to see them being entirely even and ready to go. You can use the corners to line them up together to make sure they're the same length and the same height. This will help us make the flap afterwards. Estimate how long you want your flap to be, just pull the piece down a little bit like I'm doing and then count it up. I'm making 8 rows. Simply just start where you left off, adding 8 more rows to your piece to create a flap. Once the flap is done, just measure them out, lining the pieces up again and making sure you like what it looks like. When you're done, you can cut it and seal it off the same way you did before. Once each side is sealed and ready to go, we can figure out how we'll be making the strap for this piece. To make a strap, we simply need to figure out the dimensions of the front panel, excluding that very top part where the hole's gonna go. I know that each side is 28 rows and that the bottom is 19, which means that we're gonna be doing 75 chains for that and an extra 70 for the strap itself. This part is a little bit long, but you simply are just making 145 chains. I recommend counting very carefully here. After your chain is done, we're going to do some half double crochets to make the strap itself. Simply loop it over, push through, pull through once, and then pull through all 3, the same as I showed you how to do earlier. You'll be doing these all the way across the chain, which will end up with 145 half double crochets. Again, it's tedious, but it will be worth it in the end. Now you have a thick, beautiful strap for your bag, which will be sewing on using some slip stitches. First, lay it flat to make sure it sits the way you want it to. Since we'll be flipping the project inside out afterwards, you want to make sure that the sides you want facing the outside are facing the inside for this part. Attach the strap, chain 1, and reinsert your hook into the front of the strap. You'll then insert it to the corner of the bag itself and start slip stitching across to put the 2 together. This might be a little difficult to see, and realistically you're just estimating how you're going to be finding holes for this part. The best thing you can do is make sure you have 28 on both of the sides and 19 across the bottom. Also, please keep an eye out for the corners, don't skip over them or it will be uneven. Once you've made it to the end, it should have been 75 stitches for this part with the remaining stitches left over. Don't skip your corner and make sure that everything is tightly secured. Leftover pieces will be the strap itself. This is where we'll attach the back side of the bag. Just line your bag up with the corners and then get your stitch marker ready to show where exactly the flap starts and the bag starts. Basically, you don't want to be interacting with the flap at all during this process since it needs to hang over. So you'll insert your stitch marker to line it up afterwards like this. From here, you'll attach this panel the exact same way you attached the first one, just starting with the extra slip knot rather than continuing where you left off. Insert it in the same way, through the bag and through the strap, remove your stitch marker, and then hook the slip knot onto the hook. You'll pull that through and then continue business as usual. Again, make sure you're counting as you go so that you don't have too many stitches, and use the stitch marker on the end to hold your spot. Once you make it to your last stitch, we'll be ready to attach the strap to the bag itself. You want to make sure that there's no loops in the strap as you attach it so it doesn't fold over weird when it's sitting on your shoulder. You'll simply line it up and attach it the same way you've been attaching your panels, only using about 3 or 4 stitches to connect the two pieces together. When you get to the end, you'll simply chain an extra and cut your yarn the same way you've been doing this earlier. Before we finish this part up, we want to make sure all these little ends hanging out are weaved in. This is very simple. Just insert your hook into the back of any of these stitches and pull the yarn through. You'll do this until there's no more of the yarn sticking out afterwards. This isn't really necessary, but it does clean up your piece a lot. Once all your edges are wrapped up, you can flip your bag inside out to admire your beautiful first ever bag. You can also pull anything that's poking through out using your hook afterwards, and from here you can either choose to leave your bag as it is, or we can make the cute little flower. To make the flower, start with a different color than the two you've used already. So you hear how to make a magic ring, which is the foundation for a lot of circular pieces as opposed to a slip knot. Simply, you're going to take the yarn, holding it against your palm and wrapping it around both of your front fingers. This will create a little X, which is what we need to be able to loop the yarn over itself. Hold it in place with your pinky. Taking your hook, you'll be inserting it underneath of the bottom piece of yarn to grab the piece that's on top. When you pull it through, you'll twist it over and then chain 1. This is how you make the ring itself. You can adjust it like I'm doing here, and know that whenever you pull that end piece, it will tighten the seal of the circle, or you can loosen it up by pulling on the circle itself. A lot of people do not like these, but I think they are the cleanest way to make a beautiful circle. To continue with the pattern, you're going to be adding 1 more chain to add the height for the double crochet, and then putting 6 double crochets into the flower itself. These double crochets will be done the same way at the start of the video, but will be different in the next step when we make the petals. After you've made 6 double crochets, you'll pull the yarn tight, like so, and then find the very top of the first double crochet you made. This is where you'll be inserting your hook to do a slip stitch afterwards. The slip stitch is what closes the circle together and makes the actual base for the flower. Even though it looks a lot different than the slip stitches we were doing to attach the bags together, it's the exact same movement. When you're done, you'll chain 2 and you're ready to start to make the petals. The petals for this flower use an open double crochet as opposed to the ones we were just doing. You'll start it normally by yarning over and pulling through, and then pulling through the first 2 loops. Rather than pull through the second 2 loops, you'll leave them both sitting on the hook when you start the next double crochet. This time, after you've pulled through the first 2, you'll be pulling through all 3 in one go afterwards. Since all of those are in just 1 stitch, you'll be doing your slip stitch into the next piece here, then chaining 2 and doing the next open double crochet into the same stitch as the slip stitch was in. To have 4 petals, you'll be doing this 4 times, so 3 more after this one. And once you're done, you'll simply chain 1 into your last slip stitch, cut it, and pull it shut. You'll be using the ends of this to sew it onto the flap itself, so use your hook to pull the remaining shorter piece through the back so it's lined up with the end of the magic ring strand. This final product is what your flower will look like when it's actually sewed onto the piece. To sew your flower on, you'll need the darning needle that I showed you earlier. Simply, you're going to thread the needle with the long leftover magic ring strand, as well as the short one too after you're done. Fold it over or twist the yarn however you need to actually get it onto the needle, and then, like I said, shove the short one in there as well. Let's get sewed on the same way you sew any normal project, inserting the needle through the top of the flap and underneath, then going back through the flower, back through the bag, so on and so forth. Find the middle of the flap, which is where your flower will go, and start your sewing there. If it's not entirely even, don't worry since it is your first project, but it's a cute little additive for something to kind of elevate it to the next level rather than it just being a plain old bag. And of course, if you didn't want to add the flower, don't worry about it. Your bag does look just as cute, but I think this is a good way to practice some earlier skills as well with the double crocheting and the magic ring. And again, just like I said, pull the yarn straight through and then push it back out to sew it together. Once you're done sewing it on, you'll leave those 2 pieces that are afterwards to tie together into a little knot. Cut them and weave in your ends the same way you did earlier. And congratulations, you have finished your first ever crochet project and learned a new skill in just a few minutes. Follow me on Instagram and Depop, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you all for watching.